shifting gears a little bit, we want to talk about digital identity. That's kind of what keeps me up at night. I enjoy that, and I think slapping blockchain or an ICO and everything isn't the solution. But I think in a lot of cases, using a blockchain to a niche market at times can bring a lot of value. And when I say value, that's cheaper for the business, better for the customer. It has to have that, or no business is going to force their way and adapt to this new standard. So for us, we look at digital identity, and one of the examples I think one of the prior speakers gave was, of course, it's kind of a hot topic. It's when you go to the bar and somebody asks for they want to see that you're over 21 here in the United States. Well, the bouncer gets to see your name, he gets to see your address, your driver's license number, all these bits of data that they don't need to do. So, why not look at that and put that in user control? So, what we created was, we looked at the ID differently. So we saw, every time you go into your bank, if you go into Wells Fargo is big around here. So you want to open a new checking account, you give them your driver's license and your name. So they're checking your address, they're checking your credit score, they're verifying that your documents are your documents, and there's a cost to that. We as the customer don't see that, but the banks are spending millions and millions of dollars just checking those documents. And I'm sorry if it's a little blurry here, but this is kind of how our extension works. So you would just go online with whatever you're doing, and as everybody probably knows, you hate having all these passwords, all these keys. So we came to the conclusion of we need to standardize this process, and it's the same thing with cryptocurrency. So obviously I'm kind of like an early adopter, and my family saw it, and they I want to try getting some Ethereum, or I want to try I want to trade coins. So one of the things is that I noticed right away. Even some of my family has a software background. They couldn't understand how to get into these wallets, how to get the token, how to unlock it, how to set all this new verbiage like private key and all these different things. So it was kind of like, well, you have to simplify it if people are going to use it. Like, yeah, the cryptocurrency enthusiasts and those people are going to like it, but how much of those people are really there? Can you run a business just off that 1% of the 1%? So what we want to do is a standardized approach. So instead of having to do all this, we'll walk you through getting your public address. It's very, very easy. You can sign your password or your private key, different things like that. And what we can do is from there, it's all controlled. Once you do that one time, then it's all about you sending your identity. So you can just copy and paste someone's address that you want to send that identity to, and that allows you to have these little check boxes here, which you can kind of see, if you're KYC verified or you're over 18, just that metadata. So if I want to just see that you're over 21, I won't get your name, I won't get your email, your social, nothing. You can literally just select over 21, that gets sent to me, and I'll be able to see in return where you verified to be over 21. Now I'm allowed to do business with you or sell to you or let you into my restaurant. There's a lot more than just Bitcoin. So, we have these things like Ethereum, which the Hyperledger guys and the IBM guys look at. So Ethereum is just a smart contract platform, and everybody uses the word smart contract too. And if you really look at that, all it is, if anyone's ever looked at Excel, and I assume most people here have probably used Excel, it's just if-then statements you're programming in a macro. You're saying, if this person has, so many Ether or whatever cryptocurrency, they could participate. If this person's over 18, then they could participate. If not, then they can't. And that's all a smart contract is, and that's how it can kind of tie in with AI, because you're just telling it what it can read before it can think about it. So you're just feeding it that information, and then it's checking for those ifs and thens. So it's pretty cool stuff. But if you've ever done Bitcoin and Ethereum, you have this hexadecimal string of numbers and letters, and that's how you send money, Ether, back and forth, or Bitcoin back and forth. Well, we applied an identity to that, so it's all handled through an extension. We certify the person, and then from there you can do whatever you want. We don't store your data. It's not in some centralized database. The only thing that you have on your end is a Chrome extension that's easy to use, and the little bits and pieces, so we call metadata. So those are things like this user's over 18, this user's over 21. And we think that's going to be the future, because why should you have to go into the bar and give them your full identity and get all that? Why shouldn't you just be able to tap your phone down or tap your credit card that has a little NFC chip in it, and it just gives a green check to the bouncer that says, well, this guy or gal's over 21, and they don't need to store that, they don't need to see it, and we think it's a pretty cool way to do identity. So there's a lot of different plays for that. It's KYC, AML, like I said, is a kind of the immediate revenue model is blockchain as a service. It's kind of like software as a service that you see with things in the cloud, like Salesforce and different platforms that Microsoft uses subscription models. But you're seeing businesses like ours shift into the blockchain as a service. So there is a use case. This is happening right now. We're already working with exchanges that do this, so it's pretty cool and pretty cool to see that come to life. So we're hoping that comes out of the cryptocurrency and blockchain world and into all of our doors. So, sure.
For the bridge passport, do you need both parties to be able to agree that she'll use your platform?
Let's say business A wants to do with business B. Well, business B would have to say, we trust the standardization process that Bridge created. So when we looked at that with that same problem, we were like, well, like you said, how are we going to be certain that this person will actually take what we're saying it is certified, say it's to the highest standard? So we just applied banking standards to it. So when we check someone's identity, goes through the process, you need to put your document down, does a selfie of your face so we can match those two things right away. So that's called Know Your Customer. And then we check all these different databases. They check criminal watch list, terrorism, sanctions, politically identified persons, and that allows you to build on our end, it allows you to build a reputation score. But from what you're saying is, really, if I want to do business, A and B wants to do business, they just want to make sure that John Smith is John Smith, and that it's not somebody else just faking those documents or different things. So that's kind of how we handle that problem, is certifying it to the highest standard that we know possible, and that's to U.S. banking.